They met before they even knew how to spell their own names. It was the first day of kindergarten. 5-year-old Oliver sat alone in the corner of the classroom, clutching a little toy dinosaur. He didn't know anyone. The room was full of laughter, but to him, it felt frighteningly quiet. Then a little girl with messy blonde hair walked over, carrying a box of crayons. She sat down beside him without saying a word. After a moment, she held out a blue crayon, my favorite color. Oliver smiled. Mine too. It was the first conversation they would ever have. Neither of them knew that it would last a lifetime. As the years passed, they became inseparable. When one was sick, the other refused to play without them. When Oliver forgot his lunch, Emma split hers in half without thinking. When Emma was scared on the first day of elementary school, Oliver held her hand all the way through the front doors. People always asked if they were brother and sister. They would laugh. No, he's just my best friend. Years slipped by like pages in a book. Birthdays, school trips, snowball fights, summer evenings riding bicycles until the streetlights came on. Every memory somehow included the other. When they were 13, life became harder. Middle school brought new friends, new expectations, and people who cared far too much about fitting in. One afternoon, a group of older boys cornered Oliver because he was quiet and different. Before he could say a word, Emma stepped between them. If you want to laugh at someone, laugh at me instead. The boys walked away. Oliver never forgot that moment, not because she defended him, but because she never once hesitated. By the time they reached high school, people began noticing something they hadn't. The way Oliver looked at Emma when she wasn't watching. The way Emma smiled whenever she heard his voice. Everyone else saw it before they did. One autumn evening, they sat on the roof of Oliver's house watching the stars. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Emma laughed. I think everyone's right. Oliver looked confused. About what? I think I've been in love with my best friend for a very long time. Oliver laughed through tears. So have I. Sometimes the greatest love stories don't begin with fireworks. Sometimes, they begin with a blue crayon. The years that followed weren't perfect. Life never is. Oliver worked long hours while studying at college. Emma became a nurse, often coming home exhausted after 12-hour shifts. There were arguments, misunderstandings, days when they barely spoke. But every night, before going to bed, one of them always said the same 4 words. We'll figure it out. Those words became stronger than I love you, because love isn't measured by how little you fight. It's measured by how willing you are to stay. 5 years later, Oliver stood beneath an old oak tree in the same park where they had spent countless afternoons as children. In his hand was something small, a faded blue crayon. He had kept it all those years. Emma laughed the moment she saw it. You still have that? I never threw away the reason I met you. He got down on one knee. There was no audience, no cameras, no perfect speech, just 2 people who had already spent most of their lives choosing each other. Will you marry me? Emma didn't answer immediately. Instead, she wrapped her arms around him. Yes. Years passed once again. The little apartment became a house. The house became a home. Photographs slowly filled every wall. Kindergarten, graduation, wedding, vacations, birthdays. Every picture told the same story. 2 people, growing older, together. Then one quiet afternoon, many decades later, 2 elderly hands rested together on a porch swing. Oliver's hair had turned completely white. Emma leaned gently against his shoulder. The sunset painted the sky the same shade of blue as that old crayon. Emma smiled. Do you remember the first thing you ever said to me? Oliver chuckled. Mine too. She laughed softly. Not very romantic. No, but it worked. They sat in silence, listening to birds singing in the distance. After a while, Emma closed her eyes, still holding his hand. Oliver kept talking, telling her about the flowers in the garden, the grandchildren coming to visit next week, and how beautiful the sunset looked. She never answered. Peacefully, without pain, Emma had slipped away beside the boy she'd met on her first day of kindergarten. Oliver didn't let go of her hand, not for a very long time. Some people believe soulmates are found. Maybe they're right, but perhaps the luckiest people don't find their soulmate at all. Perhaps they simply sit beside them on the first day of kindergarten, accept a blue crayon, and spend the rest of their lives coloring the same story together, because in the end, life isn't measured by how many years we live. It's measured by who holds our hand while we live them.